Welcome back for another video. I'm gonna do something different today. I know Thursday is normally Throwback Thursday, but I'm gonna do a Tag Thursday. Because I've been getting tagged so much and I don't want to fall too behind on the tags. So, my Bookish Firsts Tags, I was tagged by Alan at Big Heart Books and Classics. I was also tagged by Jim with Jim's book, Reading and Stuff. The tag was created by Monica at Mooney Reads. Here are the questions, and I'm just going to answer them on the fly. Oh my. Question 1. What is the first full-length book that you remember reading on your own, not as a picture book? I am going to have to say I honestly don't know, and I feel bad. That's going to be my answer on a lot of these. They're asking questions from my childhood. If I had to guess, just putting in a book, it would have probably been something... No, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Question 2. What is the first series you remember finishing? Oh, wow. As a kid, I used to read those huge series like the Boxcar Children and such, so I'm sure I did not finish them. But I also remember being a huge Star Wars fan, and so I did finish those various Star Wars trilogies that came out back in the day. Things like Heir to the Empire, the Timothy Zahn books. What is the first book to movie adaptation you remember knowing it was a book to movie adaptation? Oh my gosh, I do not know. These are tough questions because the simple fact is I loved reading. I read a ton of books, so I don't know. Let's see. I guess I remember Polar Express as a child. I remember the book. I remember Charlotte's Web. I remember the book. So I guess when those movies were made, I would have known that they were from the books. Number 4, who was your first book crush? I'm gonna have to say I don't remember. I don't think that as a child I developed crushes on characters from books. Just wasn't a thing for me. Number 5, who was your first bookish friend? I don't know. Oh gosh. Probably would have been someone from the neighborhood when we had moved from Louisiana to the Houston area and then to the Carrollton, Texas area. And I remember I had friends that would go with me to the library. But I mean, that was about second grade. Sadly, it's been a long time. I don't remember all their names. And because we moved shortly after that, I only knew them for about a year or so. Because then we moved to Tennessee before coming back to Texas. What is the first adult book you remember reading not for school? That's a trick question in my mind. What you consider to be an adult book. I mean, I guess those Star Wars and Star Trek books that I was reading were not necessarily adult books. As a kid who was a member of the science fiction book club, maybe Neuromancer would be the best answer for that. Number 7, who was your first character role model? Oh gosh. This will sound like a lame answer, but probably someone like Lassie. I mean, that dog was loyal, that dog was helpful, that dog could help get people out of trouble. There were a lot of books about dogs and horses, and they usually died in the stories, so it was very refreshing that Lassie didn't die. And yes, a dog, I think, makes for a great role model for a human. Number 8, who was the first author you were truly inspired by? I don't remember. Gosh. I read a lot of biographies of Walt Disney, but they were not autobiographies. But I remember every time we moved, a teacher had us do another book report project. And I was like, I've got Walt Disney down. And I would find some sort of biography of Walt Disney in the library to talk about. Number 9, what is the first book you remember touching or moving you? Would have probably been some of those books about dogs and horses dying. Things like Old Yeller, Where the Red Ferns Grow. Number 10, what was the first classic you read not for school? Oh gosh. Probably some classic science fiction, though I don't know. I could definitely say I read Lonesome Dove when I was in high school. It was over 1,000 pages, but I used it for a project in school because we actually had the ability to choose what book to read for one of our major assignments, and I took on that behemoth of a book for that. Number 11, what was the first YA book you read? And see, this is a tough one again. I'm not doing well with this tag video. They weren't called YA. You know, we had scholastic fairs, and there were clearly children's books, and then there were books that were targeted at elementary and middle school age, but the actual term YA wasn't really being thrown around. I'm gonna have to cop out here and say the Harry Potter books, because that's the first time I remember YA as a term. And number 12, what was the first ebook you read? I have no flipping idea. Whenever ebooks became available legally on the internet, I started looking into them. It was probably an Alexander Dumas book, probably rereading The Three Musketeers or The Count of Monte Cristo, because I was just excited that his books were free on the internet. Alright, I'm going to pause here